Hello. Greetings, everybody.
Greetings, King. Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. I'm just getting set up here, folks.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
You know, I always hope we have a bigger group, but that's why I do this 5-minute thing to help people, give people a chance to trickle in, because I don't think too many people are paying attention. Plenty of people know that I post this every night, Monday through Friday night. And you would think some people would start paying attention, but oh wow. Let those be fooled be fooled. And having said that,
It's
thank
funny
you
you
for
mentioned
joining.
that Maxim. I just,
Okay, what? Say that again, Lori.
I just mentioned that Maxim recently because so many people operate off of that. Supposedly teachers.
Yep.
I yield.
Yeah, that's why I don't. You don't see me following people. I'm doing my own research and putting it out there. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Well, I've been following Anna Von Reitz," or I follow Brian. I co-host with Brian on Sunday nights, but I've been keeping an eye on his content since the day one. I liked him from the start, but I still don't follow Brian. I don't follow anyone but him. Every time I have a question, I'm going to go to him first, and then I'm going to start asking other people if their answers correlate and are relative to being the same kind of answer that he would give me. Then I'm good. If it's a commercial answer, I already know. Nope, nope, nope. It's already dismissed. They're either trying to advertise or they're caught up in cognitive dissonance, one or the other.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the things that I really appreciate about you, Keith, and Brian as well, and Malika, and a few other men and women is that, I mean, you do such eh, amazing and intense research. Like, ever since I first became aware of you, Keith, I always liken it to, here's my analogy, that I'm running behind the short bus trying to catch up to you. Because such, because it's true, you know. Like, I don't know if you remember the one time when you were given on the Lieber code, and actually what you were doing, now I know, you were exhausting all the remedies through the post office and going in through Admiralty, going in through the private, and it was one, I think it's the only time that I was ever so incredibly frustrated that I literally, it was like you were speaking Latin and I couldn't comprehend what you were saying.
Well, hopefully as time goes by, it'll get simpler because more and more people will start doing this stuff and realize how simple it really is. It should only take the one document. And that, in fact, is actually the same thing as a peace treaty or revocable letter, credit banker's acceptance, certified check. It's just a negotiable instrument. And that is what is legal tender today. So it's just a matter of bringing things down to simple contract terms and making sure you're making the correct contract assignments in those contracts.
Yeah, it seems that simple. I mean, I definitely know what you're saying now. It's just executing it. But anyway, I yield. I thank you. I just wanted to say I appreciate you.
And in regards to those contracts, we're going to learn a little bit today about why I'm so hard on the definitive paper form versus this electronic form. I'm going to show you something here. You're going to find this kind of funny, I think. It says electronic records, electronic signature. And when we go into general provisions, again, here we are with general, okay? It's a military provision. It's provisional law. So I have a contradiction of laws here. It's a provisional law or it's the original law, okay? When we get into the general provisions, we look at scope. And under scope, it says the regulations in this part set forth the criteria. What is criteria? That's the classification elements they need under which the agency considers electronic records, electronic signatures, and handwritten signatures. That criteria that they need is a date, a name, a number, and a title. That's it. That's all they need. That's the main criteria. And when you're entering that stuff in these social sites, you've got a name and a code, a password. That's the code. It's the numbers and stuff that we're entering. And it's got an electronic address and a title. So these electronic platforms, when you do this stuff on the electronic platform, anything you put out there is automatically presumed. It's a legal character. It's a characterization. It's not the real thing. It's going to be a characterization, no matter how you look at it. In that form, then it needs those four elements to be qualified. And so what they do is they take that as an automatic intent to sign a document. They don't have to take the signature. They can just take the implication that you put certain information into the realm that qualifies for a document that would need a signature. And if you do that, then it shows intent that you're wanting to sign that document. So when we post a post and we put information down there and it's got the time and the date, remember, date stands for day and time executed. So it's already got a date and then it's got a time. It's already split in two jurisdictions right before your eyes in this fictional realm. Think about this stuff. This is how the electronic form works. If then go to, and if it's got two different ways it can go, it will do that. This is the dissemination of information. And it says that under which the agency considers electronic records, electronic signatures, and handwritten signatures executed to electronic records to be trustworthy, worth the trust, reliable, and generally equivalent to paper records and handwritten signatures executed on paper. They're considered equivalent. So what they're going to do on that end is like when Zuckerberg says you've gone against our community standards, they're saying they've got an intent to make that claim. Let's do it then. This part applies to records in electronic form that are created, modified, maintained, archived, retrieved, or transmitted. That's an awful lot of dissemination, a lot of transporting. Under any records requirements set forth in agency regulations. This part also applies to electronic records submitted to the agency under requirements of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Acts and the Public Health Service Acts, even if such records are not specifically identified in agency regulations. This is where it only has to meet the criteria. As long as it's got certain elements in it, it's an automated commercial environment that is going to capture those elements and the rest of the cargo with it. It's called privateering. Where electronic, let's see, this part does not apply to paper records that are or have been transmitted by electronic means. So when we're taking our documents down to the court or mailing them down to the court to have them filed and they're refusing them to file them, violation. Violation. That's a negotiable instrument. And it doesn't matter. This is proof right in on for the record that says this part does not apply to paper records. It has to have a definitive paper record to substantiate its electronic form. Without the electronic or without the definitive paper record, it cannot substantiate itself in the electronic form. Period. It must have the wet ink signature, the good works of the man that actually did it, not some posed keyboard entries that are still presumed. It has to be clarified. Where electronic signatures and their associated electronic records meet the requirements of this part, the agency will consider the electronic signatures to be equivalent to full handwritten signatures. So they're only making their own determination. It's still just an opinion. It is not a matter of law. It is not a doctrine of law. Very distinct difference. And we're going to see here in a minute, this is a contract. Therefore, it's not a doctrine of law. Initials and other general signings as required by agency regulations unless specifically accepted by regulations effective on or after August 20th, 1997. When they say general signings, they're talking about blank endorsements. You're not making qualified endorsement. The qualified endorsement is being able to put your peace treaty on there, full acquittance and discharge. We come to a mutual agreement of comprehending that there are mutual mistakes. Pure and simple. Your electronic record has mistakes that have been entered errantly. Even your paper record has mistakes that have been entered errantly. They are mutual mistakes. Electronic records that meet the requirements of this part may be used in lieu of paper records. Excuse me. My yay is my yay. My nay is my nay. Ain't nothing can be used in lieu of that. Period. In accordance with 11.2, unless paper records are specifically required. Guess what, folks? Paper records are specifically required. It has to have an original financing statement. It has to come from somewhere. Computer systems, including hardware and software, and let me remind you, where they use general as opposed to specifically required. That's your specific assignments, your specific powers of attorney. Specific powers in law specific powers in law of the facts that are true as opposed to attorneys at law. Totally different thing. Computer systems, including hardware and software, controls and attendant documentation maintained. Who's the attendant if you're the one attending the computer board and putting the information into it? You are one attendant. They are the other attendant on the other end. You are both participants. You are both applicants. You both apply to it if you are using it. Maintained under this part shall be readily available for and subject to FDA inspection. This part does not apply to records required to be established and maintained through 1.326 through 1.368 of this chapter. Who is subject to this part? right away. I want to tell you folks. The persons who manufacture, process, pack, transport, distribute, receive, hold, or import food in the United States are subject to the regulations of this subpart. Huh? Watch this. This is Food and Drug Administration, folks. And it says, persons who manufacture, process, pack, transport, distribute, receive, hold, or import food. Who is subject to this subpart? Tells you right there. Who is excluded from all or part of the regulations in this subpart? Are they babbling here? Farms are excluded from all the requirements in this. Isn't that where we get our food? No. Remember, folks, real estate investment loans are made to farmers and ranchers, and their intent for farming is specifically primary production farm. A primary production farm is an operation under one management in general, but not necessarily contiguous physical location devoted to the growing of crops, the harvesting of crops, the raising of animals, including seafood, which is the intent of farming, is to fish farm. See, it's the extension. It tells you right here. A primary production farm is an operation under one management, in general, physical location, devoted to the growing crops and all this. But the control is somewhere else. Yeah. Or any combination of these activities. The term farm includes operations that, in addition to these activities, pack or hold raw agricultural commodities. So, if farm includes operations that pack or hold raw, then who the hell is subject? I raise serious questions, folks. So let's go on to the next part. Implementation. Title 48 of the Code of Federal Regulations 52.12 or 52.212-5. Contract terms and conditions required to implement statutes or executive orders - commercial item. My, aren't we talking about agricultural commodities? And all of a sudden they say nobody's subject? Then who is subject to it? Implementation. For records required to be maintained but not submitted to the agency, persons may use electronic records in lieu of paper. It sounds like the only ones that are subject to it are the ones that are transporting the damn paper. Or electronic signatures in lieu of traditional signatures. Tells you stepped away from something that's common. It's no longer common. You're out of your element. In whole or in part, provided the requirements of this part are met. If no one's subject to it, then how are they met? Again, it's the commercial item sought through negotiable instruments. The legal tender, commercial items. For records submitted to the agency, persons may use electronic records in lieu of paper records, or electronic signatures in lieu of traditional signatures, in whole or in part, provided that the requirements of this part are met, and the documents or parts of a document to be submitted have been identified in public docket number 92S0251 as being the type of submission the agency accepts in electronic form. So they're saying that in order for it to be in electronic form, the document or parts of a document to be submitted have been identified. So they're saying you still have to submit documents. So again, when they make this claim that I've gone against their community standards, then let's produce that documentation, baby. My intent is to sign it. Is yours? Or are you going to try to hide behind some electronic signature, you coward? Definitions. The definitions and interpretations of terms contained in this section 201 of the Act to those that apply to those terms when used in this part. The definitions and interpretations, that's synonymous with opinion, right? I've been telling people all along the definitions are just another man's opinion. They're just another man's interpretation. So like I explained in my video earlier today, in case you didn't catch that on Moonshine, give them your interpretation. Negotiate it. Give them your terms. The following definitions of terms apply to this part. Act means the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Acts, 21 U.S.C. 321 through 393, generally definitions. Interstate commerce means commerce between any state or territory. Any state. It doesn't say the people. Nope. Interstate commerce means commerce between any state or territory. I'm not a state and I'm not a territory. I'm not subject to your commerce. Period. Your ordinances do not apply. I was ordained. And that's why your ordinance does not apply. Closed system means an environment in which system access is controlled by persons who are responsible for the content of electric records that are on that system. Postal Service, right there. It is a port. And it is in regards to the Patriot Act and terrorism. And this is one of the reasons I established myself on the international forum first and foremost. I can assert that position from now on from the highest jurisdiction and just let it trickle down. And the documentation will take place from there. Anybody requires documentation, it's already in electronic form, in a simple expression. Let's clarify and negotiate what you need for your side of your electronic data collections. Is it classified or not? How is it classified to be valid in your system? Digital signature means an electronic signature based on cryptographic methods of originator authentication. It means that you're authenticating what you're putting in. What you put in these electronic systems, people, are the truth. If it's not the truth and you're just babbling what somebody else is telling you, beware, it's going to come back. You're the one authenticating it. You're the one doing it. Look back through my page. 5.5 years of doing this strong. Ain't too much of my content that's been removed because I get it from the public domain. Sony Music Entertainment tries to make a claim on my part 22 saying that I'm using it for commerce. I'm not. They don't have one shred of evidence. I asked them to bring their claim to paper. Put that claim on paper. Show me how I violated your copyright and use your material to make a profit. You want to use my PayPal account and say that I made a profit because money went into that PayPal account? I urge you to please do so, because there's a trilateral agreement already made in trust with Bancorp and PayPal. And I don't I don't sell anything. That's part of our agreement. I don't sell anything. I can't use that card if I'm selling. That is already an existing record. Now try to make your accusation that I'm selling stuff for commercial purposes and use your material to do so. Prove it. Everything that goes through there goes through Keith Norton Little Faith-Based Union. Look at the website, Keith Norton Little Faith-Based Union. It's a faith-based union. It takes everything of donation. It can't create anything of its own. It can't produce anything of its own. It has to accept donations. This is reason and logic, people. Let it trickle down. Like I said, this is World Wide Web and ain't nobody rebutted it yet. Hiring a lawyer or hiring an attorney proves oneself incompetent. Ye already have counsel. Ask and ye shall receive. Electronic means, or electronic record means any combination of text, graphics, data, audio, pictorial, or other information, representation in digital form that is created, modified, maintained, archived, retrieved, or distributed by a computer system. So right here we have a representative of value. 18 USC 8, obligations or other securities of the United States, says stamps and other representatives of value. I posted my representative of value in an electronic form on the World Wide Web, and nobody to this day has rebutted it. It has its value, superior to all other jurisdictions, because none of them have rebutted it. How's that for your commercial interstate commerce? How's that for your .coms? How's that for any other website operating commercially, trying to make claim that I've made a Facebook ad or that I've used Sony material in a commercial way? Bring it to paper. Make that claim. That's a negotiation. Electronic signature means a computer data compilation of any symbol or series of symbols executed. Date and time executed. It's an acronym, people. Date and time, or day and time executed. Handwritten signature means the scripted name or legal mark. You cannot put a legal mark into a computer. It is only a presumption of a legal set of criteria. Date, number, name, and title. Open system means an environment in which system access is not controlled by persons who are responsible for the content of electronic records that are on the system. Like I said, this World Wide Web, Postal Service is the one that has control of it, okay? That's why they have their Postal One master trust account in electronic form, and are the customs and security clearance officers with secret security clearances for the paper documents that travel through and into the mails. Period. In regards to those signatures and records, it has to do with a national agency check. Now, when they want to check that national agency, they're going to have to check through, for me, for that name, they're going to have to check with the international agency now. See, it's already recognized internationally. They can no longer do an internal search looking for that entity. It's proven superior that it does not belong to them. Another entity has made a superior claim in a superior forum, and they have no commercial lien. They can't enforce a commercial lien. I dare them. I dare them to put it on paper now. In regards to national agency check, we're talking about defense industrial personnel security clearance program. Industrial, as in the North American Industrial Classification System. The numbering system itself is for personnel. When we think about that personnel, personnel is both military and civilian. Everything's commerce, and the personnel are civilian and military. If you're performing commercially, you are of the military or of the civilian populace enforcing military regimes. We have active duty service for civilian or contractual groups. So that hospital is contractual group as a civilian service. It's a military operation. Everything is. 154.16 is the security clearance. Then 154.17 is special access programs. And this is all right here. It's Code of Federal Regulations, Title 32 of National Defense, Department of Defense Personnel Security Program Regulation. The only thing they can regulate is things that clear through their security. If it's not their security, it don't clear. Guess what? He ain't their security. Fear not, I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by name. You are mine. He has secured me. Pure and simple. When we think about these security clearances back here with the national agency check, this is NAC. You see this all the time. NAC, it's a national agency check. And this is an entrance national agency check. In order for them to do an agency check on me anytime now, they need the proper entrance form. They need to have the proper entry record. Has to be entered properly. Pure and simple. It's plain language, people. And I'm going to post all these links because these are the people we're talking about. It's the Judicial Officer, Board of Contract, Postal Service Board of Contract Appeals, the Armed Services Board of Contract Appeals, and the United States Civilian Board of Contract Appeals. Guess what? That's three parties confirming that there's a trust in operation somewhere, and that all three are parties to a contract. Board of Contract Appeals. Those are the parties that are in contract under trust. As a beneficiary under trust, we are not required to do anything. That's the beneficiary. If you truly want to take beneficiary of that, you be beneficiary of the true trust. And you step forward with the knowledge of what you're gaining, the wisdom, and teach it. And you do so freely. That's your trustee position. And the beneficiary is to be able to keep gaining that knowledge. It's like the commercial on TV. I do more coke so I can work more, so I can make more money, so I can make more money. And I make more money so I can get more coke. And I get more coke so I can make more money. It's a vicious circle, this thing of education, knowledge, and wisdom. But it's awesome. It'll free you up. So anyway, with that, I'm done for tonight. I don't know how many minutes I've got left, but I'll share all these links later. We got 6 minutes and 45 minutes. Go at it, people. Oh, yeah, 6 minutes, 45 seconds.
If I may,
You bet.
I found it very interesting when you were going through the parts about who it applies to, that it applies to the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico and the Canal Zone.
Yes.
You know, like, and what most people don't realize, especially now with what is it, HR 51, that so many things are seeded through the Canal Zone. I mean, even quote unquote Canada is considered the Canal Zone.
Well, we have this thing today called the Organization of American States, and includes Canada, North America, and South America, Central America, and it consists of 35 entities. And that's what that canal is for, is so that these entities can all get their shipments on land as a cargo goes through the Panama Canal, and still has cargo to go to the rest of the world, and it can load on new cargo as it's unloading cargo north and south. This is why the entry documents are important to the Gulf of Mexico and the major lakes and the Great Lakes in the north. The Great Lakes in the north have the river that comes in from the east coast, but for distribution it has to go down south. So we use the Mississippi and stuff, and that connects these main areas for the central portion of Canada and North America. And it's the most important trade route, but they use it for their regulations for territorial overlays clear up here. And that's all it is, just territorial overlays for the contracts that they're performing. That's all it is. Does that help?
I mean, that's what I really appreciated about looking at Lex's documents, is that I was able to get a more clear comprehension of the overlay and how it started with the whole territorial too. Because it never really occurred to me always trying to defend myself instead of recognizing, like, who are you first? You're the ones that onus probandi, right? If they're the ones making the claim. And I'm sorry to hear that. You know what I found in my private group, Keith, is that other members in my group are being monitored for their activity outside of my private group. And now they're trying to bring that regulation into the private group on Facebook.
What
I don't know if
regulation
you-
is that?
I'm going to guess that it's probably the COVID ones. So I'm disputing that. I told you how they offered me a job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate your comment in my video the other day. Yeah, put me in that seat. Damn right. What else? Anybody else?
I got a question.
Go ahead, brother. We got 3.5.
Okay, this is what I was thinking, right? And I was looking at, because this was something I was thinking a long time ago. They gave us a seat and then they didn't train us at all. No, you cannot work no job where they didn't train you to have some knowledge of what. So since they didn't train us, I was thinking about this. I've been looking at this from different angles. Could we sue them for gross negligence?
No. Guys, I will not enforce liens, suing them in court, things like that. It is about coming to peace. If you can't come to peace, you will fail. It's the only way to operate his law is by peace. He is not a vengeful God. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, but the only vengeance he has is against those who break Romans 13:1. There is no authority but that which is ordained of God. That's what tells us we're supposed to listen to each other and not enforce our or impose our concepts upon each other. We're supposed to listen to each other. That's what our ordinance is. Not to push his word on anybody, but to listen to everybody in all fairness.
But at the same token, I'm looking at they've been deceiving, stealing everybody's rights of inheritance.
Well, most you got to remember, most it's just like Hitler's willing executioners. Most of them are caught up in the cognitive dissonance, just like us, and that's the equality. We've got to give them that. We've got to say, okay, well, maybe they're caught up in the cognitive dissonance, and they truly do. Because if I was in that position and I was making $500,000 a year and had this nice home, I would really want to keep it too. I can see myself in those shoes. But at the same time, what we got to do then is realize that that document that we have is a negotiable instrument. All we have to do is put our consideration into it, make it valuable. But when we do that, make sure that that value is equal and we can make it equal for them. Tell you what, I understand that your boss is up your ass and he's trying to tell you got to do this, but I'm telling you, there is no legal authority from your boss to tell you he's making a legal determination. So let's come to peace on this. Here's the document. You just give it to him then. Whatever you got to do, you always operate in peace. And that's why I said I started my site on the international forum and it's stated in peace. And that's my intent. And I hope to be able to find more and more people in my life that will comprehend that and understand that's all I'm doing. I want to come to peace. And if there's some kind of discrepancy, I don't want to be an argument. I want to contemplate it and Socratically discuss it so we can come to terms to be at peace with it. That's it. And with that, I'm done for tonight. Like I said, I'll post those links and we'll be back at it again tomorrow night. We're going to talk some more about, let me see here what I've got gathered up. Wrong page. Dang it. Oh, diplomatic security. Diplomatic security tomorrow night, guys.
Sweet.
So we'll see you then.
Yay.
So we'll see you then. God bless. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this.
Peace.